So recently I've been harassed and pestered about being a fake Satanist, opposer, whatever, because I lean towards a Laveyan Satanist more than a theistic Satanist or a true devil worshiper for that matter. And, I can kind of understand where these people are coming from because, why call yourself a Satanist if you don't actually worship a Christian devil? Well, this could be a long fucking video, and, I'm not up to I never make long fucking videos. I try to keep mine short because I have a short attention span, and I assume everybody else does too. So here's my thing on this, guys, is we must ask ourselves, what is Satan? Just because the Christians define Satan as one thing doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else defines Satan as that same thing. Also, let's start with Laveyan Satanism. Most Laveyan Satanists are atheists that identify with the ideology or the archetypical symbology of Satan, being the rebel angel, being the accuser, the judger, the one who challenged the word of God, the one who is the mundane and rules the earth and all of its pleasurely delights and its fleshly pursuits. He's a symbolic representation to Laveyan Satanists. He's not a real deity, but at the same time, in the Satanic Bible, I think Lavey defines Satan as an unknown dark force. So, it's kind of confusing in that sense to know exactly, because certainly Lavey believed in principles of magic. So, is he really an atheist? I think that what he was trying to express was that there's a force greater than man, not a conscious deity that really gave two shits about human affairs, but a force that permeates the universe, that permeates life, altogether. Not an evil force. And this is where people fall short of understanding, is that they assume that because you call yourself Satan, that your definition of Satan is the same as theirs. And it's not. Personally, I don't believe in a God or a devil, but at the same time, I'm open to the possibility. Well, I'm not just open to it. I know for a fact, I believe for a fact anyway, that there are forces greater than man. I don't think that they are conscious forces. I don't think they give a shit about us, but there are definitely forces beyond man. Science can even prove this, for you atheists or for you guys who are going to split hairs with me here. Gravity is a force greater than man. Light is a force greater than man. Heat is a force greater than man. It's an energetic force that's fairly unknown that can be tapped into for magical purposes. So that's kind of a loose definition in a nutshell of what I define Satan as. And Satanism is more of a empowerment tool for a Satanist as opposed to a strict religious doctrine. There is no thou shalt and thou shalt not. It is not set up like other religions where there's a strict guidelines that we need to follow. It's kind of a loosely structured Kabbalistic type network or underground movement that identifies with Satan because Satan is the most popular archetypical image of anti-religion and anti-God in Western civilization. In a different time and era, Satanism might not be called Satanism, but throughout all the ages and throughout most religions, there's a deity and there's an anti-deity, and the anti-deity isn't necessarily evil in all religions, but in Western Judeo-Christian mythology, of course, Satan is the anti-deity. So those of us that oppose Western Christian Judeo theology and philosophy identify ourselves with Satanism for that purpose, primarily. Now, the theistic Satanists, those are people that are similar in belief to Laveyan Satanists as far as modern-day Satanism goes, and Lavey was the first person to put Satanism into a belief structure, into a so-called organization. Certainly there were other Satanists before Lavey, but not in the same way, and no one put it in a comprehensive understanding or organization as Lavey did. So my take, and feel free to challenge me if I'm wrong here, because this is my own opinion from my own understanding, is theistic Satanists are pretty much Satanists, kind of like similar to Laveyan Satanists, or I would say modern Satanists. We'll just call them modern Satanists in philosophy, except that they believe that there is a force greater than man. That they, and some of them actually believe that it is a conscious deity, or of sorts. You know, that's my understanding. You know, I could be off base here, and I could be leaving out some substantial information. So a theistic Satanist, or similar to Laveyan Satanists, except that they believe that there's a force, and they choose to identify themselves with that force. And then there are devil worshippers, and we all know devil worshippers, or I would call them Christian Satanists. These are people that worship Satan, as theistic and Laveyan Satanists do not. These people actually worship Satan in a more traditional religious foundation or undertone, and they think, you know, that Satan, they believe in Satan as Christians see Satan, and a literal deity, you know, as put down in the Bible. And these are usually the people that attack me as being fake Satanists. Either that, or people who attack me are those who cannot break outside the concepts of good and evil. You know, and they get caught up on the term Satan because they think that the name Satan and the definition of Satan is written in stone and it is not flexible. Well, fuck, most Christianity stole a lot from early paganism. You know, why can't we steal that back? You know, I mean, I certainly feel like I can define Satan to whatever I choose, and I think most Satanists do as well. So then there's the devil worshippers, and you know, are they Satanists? Yeah, sure they are. You know, they're a little misguided, but you know, a friend of the devil is a friend of mine, and you know, kind of losing track here where I'm going with this. But yeah, so for those of you that call me a fake Satanist, you know, most of you haven't even read the Satanic Bible. And you know, I don't claim to be, you know, the, how do you put it? What I believe isn't necessarily what all Satanists believe. And I don't claim to, you know, be the absolute word on Satanism. There are a lot of Satanists that believe differently than me, you know, and as it should be. Again, it's a self-empowerment tool. It's a philosophy more than a religion. It's not written in stone, and you really need to start thinking outside the box of good and evil to really get a grasp of this. You know, it's about indulgence. It's about self-empowering. It's about worshiping of the self and of life. You know, and identifying with Satan, whether you think it's a real force or whether it's just a symbolic representation and an archetype of lust, of passion, of power, of creativity, of individualism. You know, and this is just talk about Satanists. I'm not even going to go into other left-hand path philosophies. I mean, that's just, this video is already way too long. You know, then there's Luciferians and so on and so on. Anyway, that's my take. Hopefully you can understand this. You know, that's kind of where I stand. I don't consider myself a Laveyan Satanist, and I really don't consider myself a theistic Satanist. I kind of consider, there's not really a term for it yet, but I would almost kind of consider myself an agnostic Satanist. You know, I'm not sure exactly what is out there for sure, and I think anybody that claims to know for sure is an idiot, because nobody can really know for sure. I mean, fuck, the greatest thinkers of the world in the scientific community claimed for sure the world was flat 500 years ago. Okay, well that tells you what, you know, yeah. Concepts in theology and philosophy are rapidly changing to suit, you know, the culture of the time, as they should. And the old ones like Christianity and even, you know, Lavey's Satanism will be redefined and modified to best fit the culture of the time. And that's what we're going to see today. Hail Satan.